Well, good morning, Lupus Warriors all around the world, and welcome to another video brought to you by the Lord's Lupus and Support channel. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope this video finds you guys doing as well as possible. And so I'm going to jump right into the video. On today's video, I want to talk with you on how to manage the feelings of frustration and the feeling of being overwhelmed as you take this journey called lupus. Because guess what? It's not going to be easy. And it doesn't matter if you're newly diagnosed or if you've been on this journey for a while, you're going to experience periods of frustration, periods of feeling completely overwhelmed. Because guess what? You've received this new diagnosis of a chronic illness out of the blue, unexpected. And so you're trying to deal with and process, I have a chronic illness now. You're getting all of this information of the do's and the don'ts, all of these instructions on how to, live out the rest of your life with a chronic illness. And so you're trying to take all of this in and process it. During that time of getting all this information, you're told that you're going to have to make these lifestyle changes. So you're trying to process that. Also, you're going through a period of grieving. You're grieving the old you, the person that you used to be. You're dealing with feelings of loss, because you've lost the things that you were able to do at one time. You're not going to be 100% the person you used to be. And so there will be some feelings of loss because now you have to operate, at a level less than what you were used to. Also, you're dealing with maybe feeling alone or questions of why me? Why did this happen to me? How could it happen to me? What could I have done to prevent it? You're also dealing with, making all these new lifestyle changes, and being told that, you're going to have to take a medication or medications for the rest of your life. You're also dealing with the frustration of trying to juggle your regular life with your lupus life. And you're going to feel like sometimes you've let yourself down. And then guess what? You're going to deal with feelings of letting other people down. Because you're going to have to say no sometimes. Because you're going to have to pull back sometime for your own health. And believe me, dealing with a chronic illness is almost like a full-time job in itself. And so whether you're newly diagnosed or you've been on this journey for a while, there will be periods of frustration. There will be periods of, feeling overwhelmed. There will be periods in which you feel like you've dropped the ball or you just can't handle it all. There will be periods of feeling that you've let yourself down as well as others. And so how do we cope with that? How do we manage that? You may feel like, sometimes your regular life, you're trying to balance that, but your lupus life keeps getting in the way, or that you're spending more time focusing on lupus instead of the things that are going on in your regular life. And so again, what do you do? How do you cope with that? Well, my friend, I want to tell you on this lupus journey, and I've been on it for a while, there has been periods of time in which I felt all of that. And don't let anyone tell you that there's a time limit for your grief, because it's not. You may have had lupus for 4 or 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, and you still may encounter moments of grief. Okay? And then you factor in, you may be dealing with depression and anxiety, not only because of the new diagnosis, but because of lupus itself. One of the classic symptoms can be depression. And so how do you balance? How do you cope with all of that? Well, the one thing that I found for myself, and I had to realize that instead of, feeling like I can do it all and I can handle it all, and when I don't, handle an area of my life effectively or like I thought that I should, then I feel let down. And so I found for me that, journaling and keeping in this journal what your daily focus will be as far as your lupus journey. What are you going to focus on for that particular day? Let's say, for instance, we have a lot of different areas in our lupus life that we have to focus on. The area of eating healthy, our diet, lifestyle changes, the area of getting enough exercise. Medication management is an area, dealing with our mental health, depression, anxiety. We have an area in which sometimes we have to deal with brain fog, memory issues. So, how do we adjust and cope with that? How do we cope with the pain, the fatigue? How do we cope with not getting enough sleep or feeling well rested? Sleep hygiene. So, there are lots of different areas, and you may have areas that you want to add to this list. But what I found is that if I can take one area and put 80% of my focus on that, not saying to neglect the other areas that I just mentioned, but focus on that one area for an entire week, because it takes 7 days to create a habit. And sometimes we may need more than 7 days. Some things may be harder to manage than others. But however long, make that your main focus for a week or two. And when you feel that you've mastered this particular area, then move on to the next area. Let's say eating healthy. That's the first area that you may want to focus on. Once you feel that you've mastered eating healthy, then move on to your medication management, or move on to better sleep, your sleep hygiene, or exercise. And just focus on, put 80% of your focus of your lupus journey, on that particular area. Not saying to neglect the other areas, but just make sure you're focusing on getting better and mastering one area at a time before you move to the next area. And then once you get to the point where you feel like you've mastered this level, you've made where you can do this with without even thinking about it. It's like clockwork. That's when you know that you've mastered an area. That's when you know that something has become a habit, that you get up every day and automatically you do this. Or, there's a certain period of time in your day that you dedicate to this particular area. And it's like clockwork. You don't second guess. You've made the time for it. This is just automatically a part of your life. And so that's when you move on to the next level or the next area. Okay. And so I hope that this information that I provided today, I hope that it will provide, a little bit of ease, as you go along this journey called lupus. I hope that it will help you just to feel a little bit better, and to know that you are in control. No, you can't control a lupus flare, when it's going to come, how it's going to come, but you can control these different areas in your life to make your life as fulfilling and as balanced as you possibly can. Okay? And so remember that there is life after lupus, as I say at the end of every video. And I want you to know that, God loves you with all of his heart. And he has a plan, a purpose, and a destiny that involves you showing up as you. And so I want to encourage you to stay safe and as healthy as possible. Stay strong, stay encouraged, and make sure that every day that you're being the best person that you can be. Okay? And I love you all. Thanks for stopping by. Bye for now. See you on the next video.